All right, welcome back to another episode on this Thing of Ours podcast. If you didn't see our last episode, we do have some big news. I finally did propose.
Okay, so let's start off with some relationship stats because this relationship is not just your average relationship, apparently. So
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we'll get into it, I guess.
I'm about to share with you the facts, the stats, Kurtis. Okay, so according to marriage.com, okay, I'm not sure when all these articles were posted. It doesn't matter. The point is they're out there.
Okay.
So according to marriage.com, in the US, typically couples would date about 3.5 years before getting married. So according to Bridal Musing, the American couple's age is between 25 and 35. The average time knowing each other before marriage is approximately 6.5 years. Engagement length. According to brides.com, once engaged, couples often have an engagement period between 12 to 18 months before tying the knot. Cohabitation trends. It's increasingly common for couples to live together before marriage. Studies indicate that about 59% of adults aged 18 to 44 have cohabited with an unmarried partner. So according to brides.com, while responses are clearly varied, data supports that the average length of a relationship before marriage is between 2 and 5 years. Just because couples are delaying marriage doesn't mean they aren't creating lives together. Mm-hmm. Now, that part is the part I actually wanted to read because we're going to get into it. But I definitely feel like when you hear couples that have been together for an X amount of years, I feel like there's a stigma to it. And it's not always a positive one. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to read that last part. It doesn't mean they aren't creating lives together. So welcome back to this Thing of Ours podcast,
where we talk about all of life's highs and lows
and everything in between. My name is Amelia. I'm one of your co-hosts.
And my name is Kurtis,
who is now my fiance.
Yes.
Okay, Kurtis, did you ever think that this relationship from the get-go was going to be long-term? Be honest with the people. Be honest with me.
Yeah. I would say I don't think anybody really knows that at the start. I think you start off just with an attraction. Like for us, for example, we met on Tinder.
Like I actually closed the Tinder app because I didn't know if I wanted to swipe right on you. Yeah, so I closed it, reopened the app, so the app refreshed, and then he kept coming up. I was like, oh my God,
It's
Tinder, give me new people. I haven't made my decision yet. And like after that, I swiped right. I'm like, you know what, screw it. If we match, we match, So I swiped right. And, that happy Tinder thing of your match or you matched.
So literally the first thing was just that physical attraction. That's all it was. We got to talking. Then there was that connection, right? But at the time when you first meet someone, I don't think you ever really know until time progresses and you start becoming that person's like best friend, someone you can confide in, someone that you can tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, like different things like that. I think those are steps that you need to build in a relationship.
I think some people move faster than others. So I think people do know. I think it's just an energy connection. Does one person's energy connects with another? Mm-hmm. And I think there is a way to know.
Yeah. That being said, did I want it to? Yes. That is a kind of different question. Did I know? Not necessarily. Did I want it to? Yes. As time progressed, did I actually think it was going to? Not really. Because
Why?
you pushed me away a lot.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. All you cared about was school at the time. And if I wasn't, like, I wasn't a good student in high school. Going back to college, I ended up being a very good student because she was a good student.
So I was a good influence on you.
She was a good influence.
That's where
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But like, she's like, if we're gonna hang out, you're gonna be studying because I'm studying. That was our starting point. If I wasn't studying, I was not able to hang out with her because I was just gonna be a distraction. So it was a good influence, but I think you just wanted someone kind of around. And it wasn't necessarily, from my perspective, I didn't feel like you really wanted a relationship. You just wanted a friend, someone to hang out with.
Yeah.
So did I think it was going to actually...
Like go into a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was going to end up being like that. Did I want it? Yes.
Okay. For me, I think that was part of the reason why it did take us 9 years. I think that there's a lot of pressure on the man to be ready. And I feel like there's also very little talk about how the woman has to be ready, not just for marriage, but also for an engagement, also for just to be in a relationship in general. You know, like you said, I was only focused on school because I had my own thing going for myself. Like there was pinnacles I want to reach. There was goals I wanted to achieve before I got into a relationship, before I got engaged, before I would have kids. Like that was something that meant a lot to me. And I think that's probably why you felt that way. I think I started talking more about marriage with you last year. And it wasn't really so much like outside influences really do have an impact on your relationship. They do. Okay. Like when I tell people that, oh yeah, me and Kurtis, we are dating. He's not my fiance or anything. He's my boyfriend. We've been together for 8 years or 7 years. They're like, oh, that long? What's taking him so long to marry you? And it's like, well, what do you mean?
Like, yeah, like you don't know our relationship. You don't know the things we've been through and what we're discussing. You like no one knows. They're just assuming based on societal standards of that 3.5 years that we said at the start, right?
Like even when I watched a YouTube video, I think I was starting to really put a lot of pressure on myself to become ready. And then I started putting a lot of pressure on this relationship, like picking fights for no reason. Like that's something I've noticed I was doing, probably since we started doing the podcast. Maybe you think longer, but whatever. I felt like I was only starting to actually like put a little pressure on myself or like to achieve my goals faster and do things faster so I can reach this point. But I remember like I was starting to see more YouTube videos, more people talking about, oh, if he waits this long to marry you, there's a problem in the relationship, red flags, blah, 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 blah. Or if I would see another video be like, oh, I knew that my wife was the one after 1 week. And I'd be like, well, damn. Why doesn't Kurtis know I'm the one after 1 week?
Yeah.
You know, and I would come downstairs after watching that video all pissed off, and he'd be like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing's wrong with me. In my head, I'm like, well, why don't you know I'm the one after 1 week?
Yeah. You should know why I'm mad.
Yeah, that's like, what was going through my mind. Watching all those videos. And people being like, oh yeah, I knew it. I wanted to marry her, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But it's like, I feel like I was ready before you. But like I said, it was only in year 8. And that was only last year. And that was because I felt more stable mentally. And I felt like I was starting to become in a better place financially. I was kind of becoming happier with my career choices at the time. But things felt like, instead of going on a downtrend, I felt like things were kind of going more on an uptrend, and that's when I started feeling ready. And that's when I realized that you weren't fully ready yet. Like, you weren't financially ready. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you were still trying to make changes in your career. You were still trying to make financial growth. And I was like, watching other videos on YouTube and being like, oh, well, he just bought her this car, blah, 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 blah. Why aren't we getting this? And it's crazy because, like, I was never like that before. So, like, I just didn't understand, when did I get to this point?
And that's the thing, right? The videos that you and the people that you like to watch, they don't necessarily, a lot of them don't work a 9 to 5. They make their money on social media.
Mm-hmm. Which is still a hard job to do.
For sure, 100% it is. But they have more time for the family things, right? And a lot of them have kids already. Yeah. So now that's putting pressure on you to have kids, because you see that, and obviously you want it, and I understand that. So you see that, and it brings up emotions in you, and then you relay those emotions on to me.
Yeah. And it was only when I calmed down was when I realized, like, oh no, well, this isn't just all your fault. And then when I would tell Kurtis, and we would actually have this conversation, I'd be like, why aren't we ready for marriage? And I remember I had this one point, and then you're like, well, have you hit your financial goals? And I would say, no. He's like, well, are you happy with the money you're bringing in? And I would be like, you're not marrying me.
Yeah, like everything that you were seeing, what people were saying, like in person to you about our relationship, was directed towards me.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to change that perspective and be like, no, it's not a me thing. This is like, it's a relationship. This is an us thing. Like, we need to think what is best for us. Like, are we ready? Not are you ready? Not am I ready? Are we ready? Yeah. And I think that's the main question that anybody in a relationship really needs to ask.
So when did you know you were ready to propose?
I mean, I feel like I've been ready for a while. Like, I know that you are the one that I want to be with. I know that. And I've known that for years now. I think...
That was very romantic.
I think knowing that I was actually ready to propose was just accepting where you are in life, and know that you're still gonna grow in certain areas of life, and things are still gonna happen. Things are gonna change 100%, and accepting that deep down you're never truly ready, but knowing that you're at least stable enough and confident enough in the relationship.
Because we could have gone 11, 12, 13 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
Curtis moves like a turtle. So, I mean, like, I'm not saying that to be mean, but, Curtis's before life was definitely a turtle. Okay, this man was born a whole month late. Okay, so just want to put that out there.
I take my time, do what I need to do.
Yes,
I get made fun of for the way I drive too. Okay, from people that see me drive, that I know I don't speed, I don't do those things. I'm like, I'm gonna get there when I get there.
Yes, and that's what it was. That's how we got to 9 years.
Yeah. I'm gonna get there when I get there.
And if it wasn't for you, maybe like I would have married the wrong person, because I would have watched other people's relationships and be like, oh, I want to get married right now. And maybe that person would have been the wrong person for me. And I would have rushed into a relationship. I would have rushed into the marriage, rushed into have a whole different life.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because that's what I wanted.
Okay, so now let me ask you, Because you said yes, what made you feel like you were ready?
All the times I've prayed over this relationship,
Okay.
and I've prayed for certain goals, and I would say, God, give me a sign. After you piss me off, I'd be like, God, give me a sign to let me know this relationship is supposed to keep going. And then God would give me a sign, and I would be like, all right. I just felt like every single time I asked God for a sign, there it was. And I know that's is it cliche to say, but I felt like in past relationships, when something went wrong or something happened, I'm like, God, give me a sign. God gave me multiple signs and slapped me left, right to show me that it wasn't meant to be. But you know, when you're young and you just want it to work, you're just like, please, God, let me have it. Let me have it. And God's like, pat, pat, pat. And
Yeah,
then you're just like, what? I can't see. I can't see the red flags.
you see the signs, but you ignore them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I never had a bad sign with you. When I asked God to show me a sign,
Yeah.
it just wasn't like that.
Yeah, like there was some negative that got you upset, whatever.
But that's what relationships are. No relationship's gonna be
Yeah.
an uptrend all the time.
There's gonna be ups and downs, 100%. But does that person have more ups than downs, first of all? Do you, like I said, can you confide in them? Are they your best friend? Do you see good qualities in that person that if you choose to have kids that you would want your kids to have? Because I think that's another big thing too. If you're planning to have a family, do you like the qualities that are in your partner? Because your kids are going to have them. Your kids are going to grow up with some of those qualities. It's going to be a blend of both of you, right? So, yeah, I think those are all big questions that you need to ask yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I was asking myself too. And I think having Trumpet, it kind of made me see a different side of you, because you would take him out, then you would take him to the dog park, and then we would play, you know, and then it was like having a child, kind of, you know, with Trumpet. And it made me see kind of what kind of dad you will be, what type of responsibility you will actually be able to kind of handle.
Yeah.
You know? So do you feel like us going into the next step, or maybe us preventing from going into the next step, it was because we were afraid now of making sacrifices on our dreams?
So you're saying, do I compromise things that I want to make you happy? Is that your question?
I already know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say yeah.
Well, yes, you're right. I do for certain things, and I feel like you do for certain things. And again, that is part of a relationship. You are going to have to make compromises. You think, you know, does what I really need, or does what I want really weigh that much? Or am I willing to accept kind of what the other person wants? Can I live with the choice if we go with her decision rather than my decision for certain things, right? And sometimes you have that discussion and you guys come to an agreement.
Like, to someone who's in our situation, right? Who's been together for, let's just say, more than the 5 years. They see the 6-year marking and there is no ring yet. There is no marriage yet. What advice would you tell people?
Once you feel confident in your relationship and you feel confident in the fact that you can actually see yourself with that person, or I don't think it's necessarily seeing yourself with that person. I think the big thing is you can't see yourself without that person. Yes, I think that is the better question. Can you imagine your life without them? And if the answer is no, then yes, I think you're ready.
So what you're saying is you couldn't see life without me?
No. And I don't know if it took 9 years to feel that way. Personally, I don't think so. I feel like I felt that way for a long time. But
Since year one. But yeah, this time I took my time, and I didn't want to have any I didn't want to get my hopes up with anything. But over time, my hopes were like getting up there. And I was like, you know what? I do love Kurtis. Like I really do. Like I think you are for me, and I think you are my best friend, and I really think that God put you as my person, because even like when I met Kurtis, one of my main like things on my list that I wasn't going to break was I wanted him to have a relationship with God. That is what I said. And that was part of our podcast episode. We talked about the lessons we learned. And that was one of the things I said. I wasn't going to sacrifice that. I said I wanted the man that I was supposed to be with have a relationship with God. And Kurtis, at the time, you had a broken relationship with him. You did. You didn't go to church. You didn't pray. You weren't really talking to him. You blamed him for a lot of things. And I was like, oh, no. Like, this can't be the man for me, God. Oh, no.
But once you heard the reasons,
Yeah.
you were more accepting. And
you started coming back to church. Like, you started going to church with me. Like, you even said, oh, are we going to church this Sunday? And I would be like, no, I'll never forget the first time I think I said this on the podcast. The first time you actually said the nighttime prayer, like I actually cried, because I was like, was this part of our growth that God wanted me to do with you? Like, yeah, like that was part of it. And I was like, and after from there, your relationship just kept, I personally felt like your relationship kept growing with God. And then I fell in love with you even more because of that.
Yeah, there's conversations that need to be had,
Yeah.
right? Like, you need to actually sit down, like, what do you want? What do I want? Do our lives actually blend together?
Yeah.
No matter how much we enjoy each other's company, what does our future look like together? If we have a future, like what does yours look like? What does mine look like? Can we blend them together? And if the answer is no, then that's when you need to potentially reconsider. Or then you go back to the compromising. What things in your future are you willing to compromise to make those things blend together?
Last thing before we go, I want to know, because you never told me, when you asked my dad for my hand in marriage, what did he tell you?
I mean, he said a few things.
Like what? Did he tell you anything about me? Did he say good luck?
He did.
He did, really?
No, he said,
Dad.
he said, I'm calm and collected, and you're a little bit rowdy.
What?
So you bring me up and I bring you down, which ends up being a good match. That was like in the gist of it. It wasn't exactly word for word.
My dad called me a lunatic?
But yes, that was kind of the gist of that portion of it. He said a lot of other things too. Some advice, right? Some things that he's experienced throughout his marriage and things like that, right?
What advice did he tell you?
One thing that I can remember was just make sure you talk in the relationship, right? If things are bothering you, let it out. Don't hold it in.
My dad told you that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that's when things, it's like shaking a bottle of pop, right? If you hold it all in and you keep getting shooken up, eventually you're going to snap.
That's a very good analogy.
Eventually you're going to snap. So just talk. When things come up, talk about it. Get it out. And then things don't build, right?
You know what? We need to get my dad on this episode. All right. That's next episode.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna have.
Yeah. So there was some other things, and maybe we can hear a little bit more if he's willing to do this episode.
Yeah. Oh no, not willing. He's going to do this episode. That's gonna be the next episode, you guys.
Okay.
Stay tuned. My dad has been married to my mother for about 36, going on 37 years. Yes. So we're going to ask. Well, maybe I won't be there. Maybe it'll just be you and him.
Okay.
Yes, his future son-in-law and my dad will sit down and they will have a conversation for this podcast.
Okay.
Yep, I think that would be interesting.
It would be a good podcast.
I would love to hear my dad's perspective on marriage. I don't think I've ever asked. Okay, let us know if you're interested in those topics.
Yeah.
We can't wait to actually sit down and have this conversation.
If you have any questions you would like answered,
Ooh, yes.
leave them in the comments below of this video, and we will consider asking those in the actual episode.
Message us privately on Instagram, and we will ask those questions that you ask on the episode.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's really it for this episode. Kind of covered what we wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And just know it's not all Kurtis's fault.
It's not always the man's fault. It's a we thing.
Oh, now it's a we thing.
It's always a we thing. In a relationship, it's always a we thing.
Okay. Can we change our podcast name today? It's a we thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in. We hope you guys have a wonderful work week. I hope everything's going good with you. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe.
And like this video.
Yes.
And
You can share this video if you want.
we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Have a good day.